Hello friends, once again, I'm Beatrice Daily. Welcome back to the studio. Today's subject is going to be sunflowers. I love them because they are bright. They seem like you're catching the sun. Today's version is going to be this lovely pear. Did it with a loose background. So let's get ready, get your supplies, and let's paint together. One brush with color and one with water. Let's start. I'm gonna bring my yellow. This is my Hansa yellow, and then I'm gonna put some over here and maybe a little bit on the tip. And then with my blending brush, which is the one that has the water, we push the water here. We bring our this yellow. One is wet. Right now everything is wet. Let's just put a little bit on the tip because of the wet paint as well as the water that we use for blending. So now is a good time to bring a little bit, this time thicker, paint of my Indian yellow. And then I'm going to put some here, and I'm going to put some over here at the very, very bottom of each petal. Some of my Quinacridone Gold, which is a yellow color, golden. But because we are putting it next to these very bright yellows, it's going to read as it is a little bit on the brown side. And I want to make it look like it's turning a little bit. I'm going to put some as this, put it more dark close to the center, and go up. Now, this will be the traditional way to do it. Go over here. But I don't know if you can see. Once I put these darker colors, the first yellow that I put kind of disappeared. Now it reads like it's white. So I had to go back. Now, I'm going to have the same problem. The center of the flowers are the darkest part of the painting. Color is relative. So if I have, this looks pretty good, but now if I put a very, very dark color here, this may look too pale. I don't want to spend my time doing every single one of these petals and having the problem just to put the center, and all of a sudden they all look too pale and I have to paint over them again. So what I like to do, this is my personal preference. I'm not asking for everybody to do it this way, but my personal preference is to paint the dark center. That way, when I go over there, I know that my colors, my tones are correct. The only thing that I had to be careful about is when I come to do this part over here that is very close, that I don't pick the dark color. But if I'm careful with my good pointy brush, I can do that no problem. So that's what we're going to do next. Tint, which is here, is going to be giving us a hint of a purple. My highlight is going to be right here. And so I'm painting around it. Okay, be able to cover all my area, and then we're going to be dropping a different color to make this have some variation and more darks. So there I have it, pretty good. I'm going to come here now with a blue, let's just say maybe a little bit of French Ultramarine, some burnt Sienna. I'm dropping these colors as they are wet, and I'm allowing for them to blend directly onto the paper. Now I'm also going to bring my neutral tint a little bit darker. Now is the time. Basically on the edges, and this one here too. And yeah, right now it looks like I'm making a big mess, but no, we're going to come and blend with water in just a second, and I have enough wetness here that I am not getting very hard edges. Let's just bring this a little bit here too. And now I rinse, take some of the water out, and now bring it here. Now, in some parts, I'm going to bring the color out like this, and that's going to give us roundness, because the center, they are round of the sunflowers. Okay, now I'm just gonna make this less obvious. And you see how I end up with a second highlighter. I can bring this a little bit down so it doesn't seem like it connects, like I have a little bit of the darkness and the light highlight is right there. All right, now this one needs to dry before I can do this petal. So since I have all these colors here, I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat the same process on the other one. So I'm gonna be quiet for this. Let's go ahead and continue going back to our petals. I'm trying to make sure here that my center is dry so that I don't pick that color. That will be something that we don't want to. And also I need to make sure that my brush doesn't carry none of those dark colors. That is completely clean. Most important thing is to have variation. Again, one with water, one with color. Start with the primary yellow. This is dry, so now I can go ahead and paint this one too. This petal comes this way. I'm being very careful not to touch the dark color. I'm gonna use my Indian yellow now, which I don't know if it's showing, but I have it right here. And once again, we put it at the center. And I'm trying to go like this is round, so I curve. I'm trying to give some movement as I do this. Rinse, going on the opposite direction, blend. I'm picking some of the color higher. This one here is too much contrast between one and the other, so I'm gonna blend a little bit more. And now that I have that done, I'm coming with my Queen Gold. Remember the color that is gonna make it look kind of brownish. And I put some darks at the center like these beautiful flowers have. I don't know, I have always found through my years of teaching that there are the people who absolutely love flowers and the ones who are like, I prefer good, I don't know, landscape or animal painting or whatever, because they find that there's a little tedious for them to paint every single petal. I personally enjoy it. I think that it's almost like a meditation. You get into one, you follow your, especially in this type of flowers, you put one color, you put the other, and that little by little, which, yeah, you are doing the same thing, but it's with variations. You're trying to the some go in one direction and the some turn into a different one. I find it so relaxing, and like I said, it's easy to lose track of time because I just enjoying the process very much. And then, of course, we end up with a beautiful result. And like I said, this type of flowers, the sunflowers, are one of my favorites because each petal is, it's one of my favorites to paint. I think they're beautiful flowers too, don't get me wrong. But because the petals are big enough, you can put all the nuances and variations. And then as the bright colors, the bright yellow, but then it has all these kind of little browns that look into it. I just find them beautiful. I'm coming with my my burnt sienna right now. So let me know in the comments if you have a favorite flower, if you like to paint flowers, number one. And if you don't, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we all have our favorites, and one thing is not worse or better than the other. Okay, so I'm gonna have a leaf over here, so some of this petal will go under. So let's just bring the yellow. I'm gonna bring this one all the way here. But now I'm gonna break it with water. And for this one here, go back with my primary yellow. Like I was saying, if you don't like to paint flowers, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm sure that we all have our favorite subjects, and that's good. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love to see seascapes, like water and boats, but that's not my favorite subject to paint. I paint them, yes, but that's not my favorite subject to paint. All right, let's get happy in our yellow. So as you can see, I have like a pattern going. I start with the primary yellow. I bring it to the bottom. Then perhaps a little too pale, so let's just get a little more color to it. Then once it's there, I come with I try to put at least one little hint of color and half of the tip. Now I go with my water, I blend. After I have blend, we go with the Queen Gold, with the Indian yellow, sorry. And that gave us a transition between this one and the other. This petal is a little bit behind, so behind that one. So we're gonna have to darken this little part here at the bottom a little bit. I go first with the Indian yellow. Let's bring it up slightly, rinse, and then the Queen Gold. And if needed, for the parts that they are behind, then we go with the Sienna. Sometimes this color will be enough. The trick here is that I'm painting over, I will not call it wet paper, I will call it more like dumb. It has some moist on it, definitely, but it's not like a lot of water running. And then I'm also bringing my paint kind of dry. Now I go with my blending brush, blend some of this. And I think I'm just going to use the burnt sienna in this case only for this little thing here, because it will be beneath, behind this, just to bring this one forward. A little bit there. And now, just with my blending, we go around and some of that. Oh, love these different variations. All right, so I'm just gonna speed up the process while I finish the rest of the petals. I think that you got the idea of how I make it. Flower is open and this one is more curved, so I wanted to show you a little bit of this one too. We're gonna have to be very, very careful when painting these two because they are very close to the dark, and when we do the blending, it could be that some water goes through it, but we're gonna be very careful by that, meaning we're gonna have our brushes kind of damp but not totally saturated with water. Let's start with the big one, and then we keep moving down. I'm going with the Hansa yellow light, and this is kind of like two, but we can treat it like if it is one, because this part over here is dark, and then the rest is going to be light. The rest meaning this part over here. I'm bringing a little bit of color because it cannot be completely white. So same technique as before. Now here I'm also gonna start having some grays. So let's go with the Indian yellow. Bring it up. This part over here is gonna be more in the shadow, and this part is gonna be in the light. We're gonna have some of this green of the stems. I don't know if that's how you call it, but so I'm gonna leave this tip over here is gonna be one of those. I'm bringing the darker yellow, the Indian yellow, which is gonna give me the separation between this leaf and that leaf, hopefully. I had to be a little bit cautious. I have a little bit of the dark for the center here as well, so I don't want that color to bleed into this other one. And back a little bit to our primary yellow. We're going to paint around the tip, and now I have this other petal going as well. Queen Gold. We're going to put some of that one here. Gonna turn a little. I want it to turn and be dark here, but not too dark. So now I'll go and blend. I just bring in my dumb brush. I keep taking some of the water out, and same thing here. Now that part is going to be light, and now this part over here is going to start getting a little bit darker. So around the tip of that one, because it will kind of cast the shadow by being in front. Not a huge shadow, but a little bit darker. Okay, and we're going to do something different this time. Yes, we're going to come with our, I don't know, hardly have any water here, so it's not a whole lot of blending is happening. But better be on the safe side by getting less water than needed, and then bring some instead of overflowing this, especially having the dark area there. Now we're going to bring the burnt sienna, which has been acting as a darker color, and yes, it is obviously within the family of the yellows. The burnt sienna is kind of dark. All right, so I'll bring in this and blending. Okay, now I'm gonna bring that here as well. Need more, and a drop of water because the paint is so thick that it's not leaving my brush. So a little bit of that here, and it's going around. I'm only going to bring it a little, and like a thin line to separate one for the other. Blending again. When I'm blending with very little water. It's just very like a dumb brush. But it's enough with the tip, especially to do this nice transition. Primary yellow, and here, yes, I have to be careful. I don't want white edges, but I don't want none of the dark brown to come inside this petal. I want this petal nice and clean, if you will. Okay, so I bring, and this is where I'll go carefully. Maybe put a tiny little bit of the yellow here, and the tip. Okay. Indian yellow. Let's bring it a little bit up. water out of my brush. Go with the Queen Gold. Queen Gold. And we're gonna bring it down. And now we need burnt sienna. Let's get it so that it goes darker there. And that's gonna make the impression that this is going like that and then coming down. Well, at least that's what we're trying to do. I think we can make it. All right. Obviously, this one has to be lighter. A little bit darker than that, but not as dark as that. And maybe put a little here because we still have a lot to do. So I'm gonna speed up this process now for the remaining one. Okay, so our flowers are done, and now before I start with the background and the stems, I want to go lightly with my kneaded eraser, and then I'm gonna lightly remove some of my pencil marks. Some of them have already touched this color, so they will stay there, and that's okay. But some of the tips might have been not touched by paint, and now that I have the whole flower done, no need to have them before I put the background. So again, I'm not going petal by petal, I'm just going a little bit over the tips and over the top. And now we're gonna start working on the stems, and then the leaves, and the last step will be to get the background. And we're not gonna put a whole thing of background, but we're gonna give it a little bit loose, so to liven it up a little bit. Let's start with the sap green and see how we like it. If not, we modify. We're gonna use 2 brushes. I'm gonna have in one brush yellow, the Indian yellow, and on my other brush, I'm gonna have the sap green. Okay, so let's start. Like I said before, these are part of the stem. So we start with our yellow. It has a lot of water, so let's just take some of the water out. And now I'm coming, let's get with our sap green and the sap green. These colors are blending beautifully here on the paper, but I can help them if I go with my thin brush and push one color up. And now we're gonna, while it's wet, we're gonna adjust. This needs to be darker, and let's just get maybe an olive green that I have in my palette, and we can drop that on top of the sap, and it's getting it darker. That's what we want to happen. I modifies the color too, makes it a little bit more natural. It is true the sap green is a pretty green, but it's also true the sap green is not a green that you usually see in nature. It's a little too artificial. Okay, so that's good. Let's get slightly more of this yellow. It almost reads like white now, so just a touch. Let's get the neutral tint, because I want a couple darker areas here and there. And once again, I'm gonna help the paint go where I want it to go. And then the rest, it can do their own thing. All right, let's just do exactly the same thing. Let's repeat it on all the petals. This greens that I have here in my palette. I never clean my palette, not because I'm lazy to do that. I don't do it because all these colors are really, really good for backgrounds, grays, or stems like in this case. So see, it still is a green, but it goes more on our blue kind of size, and that's what I want. So let's start using that. And if not, if you don't have a palette like this, let me show you how you can make this one. You could use, say, your sap green. Let's have a little clean area here. You have a sap green, and again, to this color, you bring a little bit of your French Ultramarine, and you keep adding. Right now it's too much on the green, so you keep adding, I don't know if it's showing. Over here, I think it is. You keep adding more till you get it to that part. It's going to be slightly different. You can also get a little bit of the olive green. And now it's a dark, we have a very dark one, but if I come here and I dilute it with more water, I should get it. There's a lot in the green. So I will need more blue. I have my French Ultramarine here in this palette as well, so let me get some from here. And then I'm starting to get in it closer to the one that I'm going to be using. So sap green and French Ultramarine. Keep getting water till you get it on this stem. Going with the dark part. Trying to be careful not to get onto my petal that we worked so hard making them. So we want to keep the tip pretty light with the yellow. By bringing my dark color right here and right away going with my lighter one that I start in the other end and let them come, I'm gonna get roundness. And if I don't, it doesn't show too much right now, I go rinse my brush and lift a little bit. Let's have this edge really clean. Okay. And then we have a good, I actually feel like this one, this size over here needs to get slightly darker so it pops more. Since it's wet, I'm going back again, just on one edge. And we don't need to get it all the way to the top. Once again, I just blend, but only that part. That is wet. I have a leaf over here. I have another leaf over here. Let's move this palette away. Let's start with this leaf, so that way I allow that to dry before I move into painting this or this. So as you can see in this painting, I'm constantly hopping around just not to paint the adjacent things. Could I get a hair dryer? Yes, of course I could, but do I want to? No, because blending usually happens better when it happens naturally in the paper. All right, this one, let's just have variation. This one will be a little bit bluer, and let's have this one a little bit more on the green side. So leaf, and let's go about that. And now we start bringing my color. But what I'm also going to do, once again, trying to save my tips. I want this to blend good over here. And I don't have any water here, so I better work a little bit faster before it dries and I end up with a hard edge. Let's just pretend it comes from out of there. And let's go like that. And let's go on the top. I'm gonna switch to a lighter brush, and then I want that light but not white, so I need to put my edge of the leaf which I'm doing right now. Then we're gonna go some darker here because be more in the shadow. So let's go. And now if my whole leaf is wet because of the color that I brought and the water that I originally put over about that edge. So let's just go a little bit more with paint so it doesn't look like we just trace around it. Let's break it up a little bit more. And over here, in this size, let's go, because I have a liner there. All right, so I'm waiting for this to dry a little bit, and then we will come back and we will put a few veins on my leaf that it will go like coming to my blue, the ones that are more on the blue side, and let's start. Let me see if this is dry. Yes, it is. I'm gonna rinse my brush, and now look what I'm gonna do. I got a lot of yellow up there. So some of the yellow, because light works like that, is gonna be reflected here. So I'm gonna bring a hint of my Indian yellow, drop it over there, and then right away I'm bringing these greens. So now my highlight has a hint of yellow. I'm gonna put it there. I'm leaving a little mark, and the metal and all this part looks like it is, and a shadow because of the petal that is on top of it. So blend, 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 and a little bit over here. And now we blend. Got a second leaf, and now we can go ahead and start painting this. We're gonna wet. Wet, wet, wet. And let's just pick some of these things that I have here. Just seeing how my highlight that I have that is almost disappearing. So I'm going with my Escura Perla, and well, it's too dry. I'm gonna lift a little bit of a highlight there too. Okay. Let's say that this comes like that. And okay, let's bring a little bit of the blue, darker color, and whatever it is, we want it darker over here. While it's wet, it's better. Blue, which I've run out of my hair, so that with my neutral tint color, I'm going over this part and that. Blend, blend, leave it alone. This time it's going to be more warm. We're going to go back to use these colors. So let's do it. That was our Indian yellow. Same technique as before. Light color in one end. right here. And then I'm gonna light it up as I go down till this leaf. And now we go with the other one. Make them blend. I go first before my yellow dries. Yellow is a color that dries fast, so I don't want this to be too dark, so I'm coming right away with water. And now we got to finish the dark part. Only water. I bring some of this color here. Onto the part that we painted with yellow. You see how I'm transforming the color just with the little color the tip of my brush has picked up. But we still have the light and the dark. Okay. Beautiful. Since we got that it has a slightly darker, let's just bring it underneath here too. And if we put it over there, bring a little bit onto my, I don't know what these are, kind of leaves, I guess. Nice, more on the blue side, so this part will be a little bit lighter. Water. And now, let's say that it goes this way. The darker color will come underneath this leaf and lightly here. Olive green that I have over there, I'm going to bring it here. And let's go kind of like a triangle, but we don't want it so obvious, so let's break it up. And now we'll let this dry. The next step is the background. Let's do French Ultramarine. And to this French Ultramarine, let's get neutral tint. And neutral tint is going to change this color. Oh, lovely, lovely. Look how beautiful it is. Let's get that here. Such a lovely, lovely color. Okay. So let's make myself a little bit more so I don't run out of it while I'm painting. And now we're ready to go. We are now gonna put our lands. We're not gonna cover the whole white. We're just gonna make it. Just give me a brush that carries a lot of water for blending, because we're gonna make it, like I said, like a vignette. And I need new brushes. My brushes been so used that my tips are disappearing. So let's just put a little bit of that here, and then I'm gonna go with a lot of water. You see how that is gonna come? Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm trying to push it close as I can to my petals. And oh my God, I'm loving this. Very, very pretty. Let's get another hint of color. Let's just say here. And again, let's get water. I'm going around the color before I get a big mark. And then I just spread in some of this tinted water around. I'm gonna go a lot farther than that, but I can bring a little bit more color in a couple places. Okay, now let's just leave that and then a hole with water, and let's concentrate on here. I'll put a little bit of color there. I don't want it to compete with my leaf, so let's go with water around. Again, you know, same thing applies. Be careful with your petals that you work so hard. We work very hard into getting those petals right. Gonna stop here. I'm not gonna bring it around. So let's go like that. Bring one around. A lot of color, that is. Okay, nice and lovely. Good stopping point. Let's get another dark around here, and let's bring water. Blend it. Oops, got a good tip right here. Let's not miss it. And let's go to separate that tip of the petal from this other one. I am gonna make it really dark and just gonna blend it. This is too much because the water push, so let's just blend. Let's bring a little bit of the dark there and let it do whatever it wants to. Okay. Water in the opposite direction. And since we got so much darker there, let's start. We're gonna stop somewhere here. So, a little bit and blend. What we do it right now is also called negative painting. We're painting around the object. We're not painting the object, in this case the petals, but by painting around them we make them appear like brighter or like more prominent. I'm gonna, actually guys, I just realized that I did a boo-boo. I started in this place and I'm gonna have to rest my hand here in order to do the other, so it's not gonna work too good. We're gonna have to let this dry before I do the other. All right, now I wanna get, because I don't wanna keep going, but I don't want it to be too abrupt. So picking all this color, having one with water and one with paint, I'm gonna splat a little bit, and that is a good way to end it. Now, let's bring a little bit of red. I don't know, maybe here or there, just for variation. Let's bleed this out a little. Let's go like that. Connect it to this other one, and since I did that with the splashing, I'm gonna protect my flower. Again, we worked too hard for it, but let's bring a little bit of that here, and heck, bring a little bit there. Good. Actually now it looks like a circle, so let's bring some of the blue over here. Let's see if I can go. Okay. Okay. I need to let this dry so that I can, well, actually, do a little area here that we can do. And then I can do the other. Let's just give the impression that maybe instead of only two, oh, look what happened when I did the splashing, a little bit of the blue got there. Let's take that one out. let's get the impression that maybe another sunflower is somewhere out there. So let's get the Indian yellow. Well, good. I'm gonna be careful with my hand, and then let's just put some burnt sienna here. Okay. Say we go till there. Now we come with the Indian yellow. And now we come with only water, and we do same thing we did over there. It's kind of like a background, but with the impression by adding these two colors that we had them around there. Maybe it's a third sunflower somewhere over there. This is too bright for not having, I got a little bit of white I'm trying to cover here. All right, let's bring this one out a little. My water, and then let's get some of the blues that we were having. Maybe it's the impression of a second leaf out there. Just to break this, there is not yellow, 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 and nothing like that. Okay. And water. Let's just use this leaf as a stepping place for our water, and this petal also for that. And this is kind of like too even, so let's just put some of that color out. Good. And maybe bring a hint of, that's too much, whoa, that's too strong. A hint of the burnt sienna here, just for fun and for variation, breaking things up. All right, let's just don't fiddle too much with it. And I found another place that I can work, which it is, go here. I have to be very careful when I rest my hand. Same colors as I did before are there. I don't want this to be too dark, so just go with it. And then I'm gonna bring this color with water here at the end, around the leaf, the two leaves, and then we let it go out. It's slightly too pale, so let's just bring, now that everything is wet, carefully. Let's bring some over here. I break this purposely so everything is not even, so we got dark, light, dark again. Okay, I dried this side with the hair dryer so that we keep going. This painting is, I'm loving it. It's looking so good, and we're almost done. We're gonna continue. Let's, I still have the same paint that we mixed before, and I don't know if we're gonna have enough, but I think we may. If not, let's just bring some of the blue, French Ultra, and neutral tint. Let's bring it back. But so again, variation is important. So now let's just bring, let's make it a little bit on the blue side, so a little bit more on the greener side. So I'm gonna pick a tiny little bit of this yellow that I have here because it's calling my name, and then we're just gonna turn it a little bit more green. Not slightly, not too much. Let's go with this, and that's it. I'm gonna do the impression of being another leaf going here, but I'm not gonna make the whole leaf. I'm just gonna go like this, make it as if it is, but then I'm going right away with water, and then I'm gonna just turn it into background. So go over there. Let's just go a little darker here since we want, this is negative painting again, guys. I want the petal to pop. So let's bring some of that. And then the rest is water, water. Water. Let's bring it here and let's pretend it is the leaf. So since we're pretending, let's get one like that. All right, now water. Let's get more on the blue. So we bring some of those blues from there to here. Let's get some over here too. And now it's just gonna pick this water. It's gonna dirty it enough to make it look like it's part of the background, just like we did it there. I have like a big line here that's bothering me, so let's just go from here and bring it like that, just to break that line that was driving me crazy. Okay. And let's go following the contour of our leaf, of our petal. Right away with water. Blue. Let's go around with the blue. Water. Water. And now I have like dumb. Let's just break it up over here. Let's go a little darker though. And just sort of like we did over there. Water. And now I'm gonna leave this over here. Flower. We're gonna have to bring, it will not be that small, so we're gonna have to bring some of those colors here, but I want it more diluted, so I'm gonna dilute them with water. Okay. Even more water. It's gonna like very light, and that's what I want. And remember, we were having brown sienna, so let's bring some of that here as well. Let me say, pretend that it's over here. And once again, I bring water. I had to bring the water all the way to my edge, otherwise I will have a white line once this dries. It will not be too good. I don't want to have a big round thing, so I'm going with my pepper and lifting some of that. Same thing here. And let's just bring in some of these blues and connect this. Let's bring it around. Water. Our painting is basically done. Let's bring some blue. This is almost a color that we don't have anywhere else, so I'm bringing more blue to it. And because everything is wet or humid, it's blending out nicely. And since this is kind of like dark and all of a sudden dark, let's break and bring a little bit of those blues here as well. Be careful with my petals. I lost a little bit of a tip here. That's okay. That one is taking one for the one more thing. We got some of the splatting going over there. Let's get some of the splatting going over here as well. Let's get some of these colors and go like this. Nice. I'm gonna protect my flower best I can. I'm getting a little bit of those reds that I was having. And for here, I got the water. I got the color. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna splatter with water. I'm gonna get a little of my Indian yellow, and I'm also gonna splatter. Okay, enough of that. And now we're gonna activate it a little bit with the tip of my brush. this like that one more time and bring some of the blues they are missing. Let's pick these colors and let's just do a couple of splatters. Trying to reach with the, I already went with water so they get activated. Okay, let's get this up. And I think I'm gonna call this done. These are the colors that they were used in order to make this beautiful painting. For the yellows, the Hansa Yellow Light by QOR that I have here on my palette already. The Indian Yellow by Schmincke that I also have in my yellow palettes. And the Quinacridone Gold by Daniel Smith, which is also already put here in my palette. I also burned Sienna by Winsor and Newton. I have it here. A very light hint of French Ultramarine by Daniel Smith I have here in this palette. Sap Green by Daniel Smith. Olive Green by M. Graham. And a little bit of neutral tint by Daniel Smith. These were the ones used in different combinations. Give it a try and let me know if you do in the comments how they turn out. I'll see you next time.